It's funny, I didn't think there would be a whole lot of disconnect from the last video that I made and the take I had in the last video and everybody's reception to it. Now, there were a few people that were like, yeah, it's a good idea to trade for Myles Garrett. We should go all in. And of course, there were some people that said, well, why would he want to come here? And of course, I addressed that in the video. It's not my job to tell you why Myles Garrett would want to play for the Raiders. It's my job to tell you why I think he would be a good fit and that we should go after him because he is the best defensive player in the National Football League in the peak of his powers in the midst of his prime. There's a lot of people that said, though, that it was a hyperbolic, stupid idea because this roster has too many holes. Too many! Too many holes! That's not true. This roster has very important holes, but too many. To what? To win a Super Bowl? Every roster that's not the Philadelphia Eagles and the Lions when they're healthy has too many holes to win a Super Bowl. No team is as good as the Philadelphia Eagles. So if you want to tell me we have too many holes to win a Super Bowl, okay, yeah, sure. But to sit here and say we have too many holes to compete, that's not true at all. We've got 4 holes. They're important, no doubt about it. But we got 4. Running back, quarterback, wide receiver, edge. Those are the main 4 holes we need to fill. Hoping that we can hit on 2 of them. Now, I understand when you just win 4 games, right? You want to have all the draft capital that you can to be able to fill those holes. But guys, newsflash. Last year, of all the picks that we had, what do we have, 7, 8, 9? We have 3 good starters, right? Good to great starters. When's the last time we've drafted in one draft 3 consistently good starters? Never? Don't put your bottom dollar on that happening again. As good as I think SpyTech is going to be, just because you have all these draft picks doesn't mean you're going to draft 9 starters. If you can get rid of 3 draft picks, maybe 1 next year, for Myles Garrett, you've guaranteed to fill one of those holes with the best player at that position where you need the hole to be filled. And everybody said, I'm crazy. Why would he go there? Why would he go there? Let's look at the odds. The odds for Myles Garrett, his next football team. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7 teams. Cowboys didn't make the playoffs last year, but if they had Dak, they would have been right in the mix. Commanders, NFC Championship. Chiefs, Super Bowl. 49ers, down year. Everyone expects them to be good. Eagles, Super Bowl champion. Raiders, same odds as the Eagles and the Niners. And then the Bills, one of the best teams in the league. Whether or not you think we have too many holes to go after somebody like a Myles Garrett, the facts are Vegas and the people who create the odds feel as though we are going to operate as if we do not have a lot of holes. We are going to operate as if we are trying to win football games right now. And take it a step further. We are on the top 7 odds for Deebo Samuel. We were number 6 in odds for Cooper Kupp. And obviously we're in the top 3 in odds for most quarterbacks that are going to be available. We are not going to operate the way you guys were commenting on the Myles Garrett video. That's just the reality of the situation. Maybe you guys are all right. I'm not saying that that's not the case. Maybe we have more holes than I'm giving us credit for. But here's what I do know. This team that has all these holes, again, I'm not saying we don't have important holes. We do. This is not a Super Bowl caliber roster. But we don't have 9 holes. We don't need another linebacker and another corner and another safety and another DT. We need quarterback, running back, wide receiver, edge. Important, but that's it. This team won 4 games last year. Probably would have won, 6-ish with Aiden O'Connell? And you didn't have your other edge. You didn't have your number 1 wideout. You had 0 running back. And you had basically 0 quarterback play. And this was like a 6-ish win roster with Antonio Pierce coaching. If you just completely ran it back, let's pretend you just re-signed everybody. You played Aiden O'Connell. You didn't have a draft. You didn't sign any new people in free agency. And you inserted this coaching staff. This team with this coaching staff would not win 4 games. It would win 7 games. So now you add $100 million of free agent capital. You add 9 draft picks that hopefully you're going to hit on some. Or you could take some of those draft picks and trade for, look, I wouldn't necessarily trade for a Debo or Cooper Kupp unless it's like for a 4th or 5th rounder, but you trade for somebody like a Myles Garrett. This now 7-ish win team with no upgrades, now you upgrade them, now you're in the ballpark to make the playoffs, which is exactly what Pete Carroll and John Spytek said they were going to do. This is not a rebuild. So to sit here and say we have too many holes to trade for the best defensive player in the league, that's insane, because that's one of the holes that you can fill. Now look, why would he go here? Why would he go here? Again, it's not my job to pitch Myles Garrett on Las Vegas. It's Brady and Spytek and Pete Carroll. But Vegas thinks that we have a chance. Whether or not you want to believe they know things, we're right in the mix here, odds-wise. We're tied for 5th. I'm looking at it right here. You can look up the odds. That's the reality situation. Now, the 4 important holes that we have: running back, quarterback, wide receiver, edge. Our coaching staff and front office has a history of being able to find pieces to plug into those that are consistently good starters in the National Football League without even using those first-round picks. Running back, John Spytek was at the front office last year that found Rachaad White and Bucky Irving back-to-back years or 2 years apart in the 4th round. Both very solid running backs. If they were on our team, they would easily, without a doubt, be the unquestioned Week 1 starter and probably rush for 1,000 yards. Wide receiver, Pete Carroll just came from a place that drafted DK Metcalf. What round was that? Not the 1st. Tyler Lockett. What round was that? Not the 1st, not the 2nd. It was the 3rd round. Doug Baldwin. Not the 1st, not the 2nd round, the 3rd round. 3 all-time Seattle Seahawks wide receivers. Day 2 and day 3 picks. Or I guess just day 2 picks if it's the 2nd and 3rd round. The edge. How are we going to find another edge? Well, we have Malcolm Kuntz we can re-sign. We can trade for Myles Garrett. But whatever we want to do with that other edge, we've got Pete Carroll, who is constructing the Legion of Boom in Seattle. The reason why the Raiders are operating the way they are is because there is a history with this front office and this coaching staff to be able to fill those specific areas of need consistently because they've done it in the past. And they've got all the draft capital and they've got all the free agent money to do it. And I will remind you that Pete Carroll's first year when he took over the Seahawks, that was the year they went 7-9, but somehow won the division and then won a playoff game, beat Drew Brees, Marshawn Lynch. They pushed forward and, what's the word I'm looking for? They manufactured, whatever you want to say, expedited the most transactions in one single offseason in the history of the National Football League. Trades, signings, cuts, everything, hirings. The Seattle Seahawks of that year. They only won 7 games, but they won a playoff game with an aging, end of his career, Matt Hasselbeck. Pete Carroll was also able to find, a 5'9" quarterback in the 3rd round that became maybe the best quarterback in Seattle Seahawks history. And then, oh, by the way, he traded that same quarterback after he was really at the end of his career for a backup, a bust, a bum in Geno Smith, who's led them to playoffs in multiple seasons, multiple-time Pro Bowler. Pete Carroll did that. So when you tell me we have a lot of holes to fill, that's not true. That's a lie. Or you just don't understand the reality of our roster. Again, we won 4 games last year with a really bad coaching staff. You take this coaching staff that we have now and just put them on the team last year, we win like 6 or 7 games. If Aiden O'Connell starts the whole season, we probably win 6 or 7 games. How is it out of the realm of possibility that we're in the playoff mix next year? I don't think that's an optimistic view. I think that's just the facts. How could this team win 4 games again? The quarterback will be significantly upgraded. There is no doubt about it. So let's just pretend, whoever our quarterback is next year, because that's going to be a separate video. Aaron Rodgers, Sam Darnold, Matt Stafford, Geno Smith, Fields, Russell Wilson, Zach Wilson, Shedeur Sanders, Jackson Dart, whoever it is. Let's pretend you trade for Myles Garrett, you sign a Chris Godwin, You drafted Judkins in the second or third round. You win 8 or 9 games. Myles Garrett's going to be on contract on this team with Max Crosby when you extend him for 2 to 3 more years after that. And in one season with Pete Carroll, you've gone from 4 wins to 8 wins or 9 wins. You don't think we're going to have a Detroit Lions-like ascension now with our version of Jared Goff or a rookie quarterback that just doubled up our wins from 4 to 8? You don't think Myles Garrett could be sold on the future where this year we're going to be competitive, but in year 2 and year 3 of your contract with us, becoming the highest paid defensive player of all time, the highest paid non-quarterback in league history, you don't think he can be sold on a future where we compete for a division where Travis Kelce's gone and the Chiefs maybe take a little step backwards? Again, not my job to pitch him on that scenario, but that's a scenario that could happen for sure. This roster does not have a lot of holes. It has important ones, no doubt about it. And the quarterback is going to be very important. But like I just listed off, Russell Wilson, Geno Smith, Matt Hasselbeck, Baker Mayfield with SpyTech. They're confident in their ability to get a quarterback. And now with Chip Kelly calling the plays, I don't know if you saw Colin Cowherd tweeted that he talked to Chip Kelly during the week of the Super Bowl. And now all of a sudden Colin Cowherd doesn't think that we have that many holes. He said Chip Kelly fired him up for the potential next quarterback of the Las Vegas Raiders. Just saying. I do not think this roster is that far off from competing. Again, if you want to compare it to the Philadelphia Eagles, by all means do that. By all means have a really depressing life. We're not there yet. It's going to take a year or 2. But how many holes do the Washington Commanders have? A lot, right? A lot. No, actually they didn't. They just needed to get the quarterback and maybe an offensive weapon and change the coaching staff. Because most of that roster is kind of still in place. Defense is a little better. Now look, it's not easy to find Jaden Daniels. I get it. But if we find 80%, if we sign Sam Darnold and he plays 75% as well, if he doesn't throw 28 touchdowns, if he doesn't throw 35 touchdowns, he throws 28 touchdowns. That's still the best quarterback we've had since Derek Carr 2016. Fact. Undeniable, indisputable fact. And the team won 4 games with Aiden O'Connell and nobody. And a terrible coaching staff. People are talking about this roster like it should have went winless. You've got Brock, you've got Jacoby, you've got 3 good linemen on offense, you've got great defensive linemen. You just need another piece along that edge, whether that's Max Crosby or Myles Garrett or whoever you want to get in that spot. And sure up the guys you need to re-sign. And I'm telling you, hit on a couple draft picks, and you're all going to be very surprised at how good this roster could be with the right coaching staff in place now. It's about the coaching staff. I know I've said it twice in this video, but I believe it. If this coaching staff was in place last year, we would have won like 7 games. Aiden would have started, we would have won like 7 games. But they weren't. We had Luke Getsy and AP, and we still won 4 games. This is not some glass half full approach to looking at this situation. And Vegas is telling you that with us being in the mix for Debo and Cooper Kupp and Myles Garrett. Everyone told me, why would he come here? No way, no way, no way. We're in the top 5 in odds getters for Myles Garrett. It's not me making that up. It's Vegas. It's the odds. So look, I didn't mean to be too contentious or hostile in this video, but it was eye-opening to see how many fans of our team, maybe they weren't fans, maybe some people were fans of the Eagles or the Chiefs who were upset and came in and said, you guys stink! It was surprising to see how many people said we're just so far away. From what? Winning 8 games? Again, you trade for Myles Garrett to get him this year to start building for then the year after that. Now look, if he was dead set on going to the Bills or the Eagles, all right, there's nothing you can do. But again, it's not my job to convince him. But to sit here and say, well, it'd be stupid for us to do that, you're insane. You are wrong to say it'd be dumb for us to trade for him. I disagree with you. But hopefully we could still be civil and have a relationship moving forward. Speaking of having a relationship, you could join the Discord where I have a relationship with everybody in that Discord. Link is in the description below. We're talking all the time about rumors and speculation and the draft and games. It's a blast, and it's free. Also linked below is Patreon, patreon.com/ALLaBorde Raiders. If you become a member of the ALLaBorde Raiders Patreon, you get your name at the end of the credits, you get ad-free exclusive content, you get never-before-seen content, you get videos days in advance. Also, hit that subscribe button if you're new. It is free, no charge. I messed up that whole thing. Please do subscribe. It's free. I don't want to charge you. I love you guys, and I'll see you next time. I just want to rock because you're making me feel alright. When's it gonna stop, DJ?